Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the super intense, high-stakes world of South Korean education. It's a system, that creates some of the absolute best students on the planet, but it also raises some really tough questions.
So let's kick things off with a number that's, it's pretty hard to wrap your head around. In just 2023, parents in South Korea spent an incredible 27.1 trillion won on private after-school education. That's over $20 billion US. We're not talking about a little bit of tutoring here. This is a massive parallel industry that's all built on academic ambition.
Okay, so what does all that money actually buy? Well, it buys world-class results. I mean, just look at the PISA scores. That's kind of the global report card for education. South Korean students are scoring a 527 in math, which just blows the average of 472 out of the water. Academically, you just can't argue with those results.
And right there, that's the central paradox we're going to unpack. Is this whole thing just a simple, high-cost, high-reward system? An equation where you pour in a ton of money and personal sacrifice, and out pops world-class academic achievement? Is it really that simple?
To really get it, we've got to look beyond the stats. See, South Korea's crazy fast economic growth created this powerful belief that education is the one true path to success. But what does that pressure cooker environment actually feel like for the people inside it?
Everything, and I mean everything, builds toward a single day, the day of the College Scholastic Ability Test, or CSAT. This is an 8-hour marathon of an exam. It's so important that they literally ground airplanes during the listening portion to cut down on noise. For so many students, this one test decides their university, their career, even their social status. The pressure is just immense.
And that unbelievable pressure to nail the CSAT, well, it's fueled the rise of this huge parallel education system. It's like a shadow network that kicks into high gear right after the official school day is over. And this is where you'll find the famous hagwons. These are private, for-profit academies. You might call them cram schools, and they offer extra classes in pretty much everything, from English to super advanced math. For a lot of students, the hagwon is where the real competition happens.
So, what does this academic marathon actually look like day to day? Well, the regular school day wraps up around 4 p.m., but that's really just the first shift. After that, it's a quick dinner, and then it's off to hagwon classes that can go all the way till 10 p.m. And that's often followed by even more hours of studying at home. It is an absolutely grueling schedule, day after day. This non-stop grind got so intense that the government eventually had to step in. But trying to regulate an industry that's so deeply woven into the culture, yeah, that's a huge challenge. So the government passed something called the Hagwon Act to try and get a handle on things. It makes hagwons register and be transparent about their fees, but the most famous rule is the mandated 10 p.m. curfew, a law literally designed to make sure students get at least a little bit of sleep.
And here's where you can really see the disconnect. Officially, the law says its purpose is to help with lifelong education. But in reality, its most talked about job is just managing the absolute frenzy for university admissions, basically trying to put some guardrails on a system that's running at full throttle.
Okay, so with this super high pressure, highly regulated, and incredibly expensive system all in place, let's circle back to the results. Is all this effort actually worth it?
Well, the data really does speak for itself. And it's not just in math. Take a look. Across the board in reading and in science, South Korea's students are consistently ranked as some of the best in the world. They're way ahead of the international average. From a purely academic standpoint, this system delivers. But, and this is a really big but, those top scores come with a heavy price tag. And I'm not just talking about the trillions of won spent on tuition. We have to look at the human cost of this academic pressure cooker.
This is the other side of the coin. Data from the OECD shows that a staggering 63% of South Korean students report a strong fear of failure. That's one of the highest rates among all developed nations, and it goes hand in hand with lower life satisfaction and feeling like they don't really belong at school. All that pressure to succeed creates this crippling anxiety about what happens if you don't.
So what you're left with is a system of really stark contrasts. On the one hand, yes, it produces a highly educated population that fuels incredible economic growth. But on the other hand, it creates enormous stress for students, it's a major cause of household debt, and it risks making the gap even wider between families who can afford all the extra help and those who can't.
And that leaves us with one final question.
Is South Korea's education system a blueprint for success that other countries should be trying to copy? Or is it a cautionary tale about the true cost of chasing perfection?